So I want you to think of a time where you had like your favorite pet and they were with you since you were like a baby till like your first day of college. And from that time, you guys went on adventures, you grew up together, you learned how to use the bathroom together, and you grew old together. And dogs don't live as long as humans do. And comes the day where you have to say goodbye to your best friend of your whole entire life. That brings me into today's topic that we're going to talk about, which is a bit sombering, and that is how to deal with grief. And usually at this point I'd say subscribe, hit the notification bell for whatever, but don't worry about that today because this one's a little bit hard and the energy in this one is going to be like, we have this story that relates to the boy, and there are many things in the world going on right now with this virus, and people are losing their lives. They're losing their loved ones. They're losing people who are close to them. And this part is like the hardest one to deal with because one day people are here and then the next day they're not. And that's really hard for a lot of people to deal with. It's really hard to have someone who was in your life so long, made a big impact, and they're just gone the next day from something that you had no control over, that you don't fully understand, and you don't know why that person had to be taken from. This is mainly for those who have lost someone during this pandemic, but this video also isn't telling you how to feel or how you should feel, because there's nothing, even with all these tips that I'm gonna give you, that will help you fully get rid of the feeling of grief and loss that you will experience. And let's get into it. Dealing with grief and loss is a multifaceted issue that is different to each individual. Everyone has their own way of dealing with grief. Everyone's grief looks a little bit different, and their connections and their attachment and how that happened is very important in formulating like our tools and strategies on how to deal with it, because it's a very sensitive issue. Now, I've talked about this in different vlogs about accepting your feelings and your pain, because you need to understand that you're going to have to confront this thing that has happened. It is something that has happened and it will not go away, and you have to look it in the face. And there are a lot of ways that you can go about doing that. Now, and it's not gonna be easy. I would say one of the things you can definitely do is talk to someone about the person that was lost. Remember them, remember all the things that made you happy about them, and then there may be the time where you feel sad, and that's okay to let it out, which also brings out letting it out. When you feel that sadness, that lump in your throat about the person that you lost, how it felt to lose them, why did it have to be them? It is okay. It is okay to have those feelings and to know that your feelings are valid, and also to know that it wasn't your fault that whatever happened to them did happen to them, and do not blame yourself. So now that we've gotten to the point where we understand a bit of our pain, we've let it out, we've shared it with others, we've had to, come to understand that some things aren't within our control, but we know that it's still lingering in there, and we need some more tools to help at least keep it manageable, because it's just about managing it, and it's not about like totally getting rid of it, because you can't escape it, as it's something that's just you're internally resolving within yourself constantly. One of the things that might happen during your grief phases is that you might get so involved in the accepting of the pain, brooding in it, feeling it, that you might neglect yourself. And at that point, it's a good idea to take self-care. Taking self-care is important because when you're thinking about yourself and the person that you've lost, it's best to not lose your routines or doing things that you've done. You don't need to do them with the same intensity, but it can help to maybe, let's say if you were eating healthy, to continue eating healthy. And mind you, there will be a time where you don't care about that and you just want to do whatever, and that's okay. Where you need to slowly ease back into your normal life so things can become more manageable. Because when you have a better handle on your routine, things can be a little bit more stable, and those loops and those feelings that are really hard to discern or get through can be a lot more manageable when you're doing things that you like to do. Some good ideas are to express your feelings in a form of art. If you're a poet, write a poem. If you're an artist, draw a picture. If you're a songwriter, write a song. If you can't do any of those things, find some outlet of creativity or something that can help you at least channel your feelings for that person, and it can be cathartic in a way that it like, if you were to think of it like a chisel on a stone, it slowly just chisels that rock off for you, because it'll help you at least have like one coin in the bucket towards we're getting back to a little bit of normalcy. Don't forget your interests, your hobbies, things that you were into before this all happened. Try and slowly get back into those. They can be very helpful, like if you like to go for runs, if you like to go for walks, if you like to watch TV, if you like to watch a certain TV show that you did together. It's important to keep those habits going, because it'll help just like motivate you and bring back some happy thoughts inside of your head, because sometimes distractions are the best way to deal with grief in the short term. Another thing is, some other people will tell you how to feel or give you certain value judgments on how you should feel, or to get over it, or it'll get over in time. Don't let people like myself or anyone else tell you how to feel about how you're grieving. How you grieve is totally an internal process that can only be resolved by yourself and over time. No one can tell you how to feel. That's just one of those important things. But this video is trying to give you the tools to at least remember when it happens, so it doesn't hit too hard. This is the most important step, because now that we've accepted the pain, now that we've begun to take steps of taking care of ourselves, taking care of ourselves takes us to another level where we need to, in taking care of ourselves, also seek support. Whether that be from friends that you trust, whether that's from a help group, whether that's from a therapist. There are many ways to seek help, whether maybe calling a hotline and resources like that. Those resources will be very, very important for you going forward, because they'll help resolve and talk through certain feelings and just give you someone to just talk to who will listen. Because the most important part during this is having someone who will listen to you and your problems and what you're dealing with internally, because if someone's giving you too much feedback, they're not necessarily listening. They're just talking with you and trying to help you rather than listen. And I know I've been one of these people that does a lot of talking. So I know that it's definitely good to just have someone who will sit, listen, and acknowledge your hurt. Another thing, the fourth thing that we can think about here, is looking at the message in the grief that we're feeling. So we need to this goes back into looking at your pain and accepting it. But what can we learn from the person that we have lost, and why does this connection hurt so much? Because then we can see what impact that person had in our life. What did they do for us? Why did it impact us in such a way? Because we cared about them so much. They did something that changed our lives. They changed us in such a way that it impacted us now, because now they can't do that anymore. And how can we take that message that they did to us and internalize it as something positive? Like taking the message of someone who was a really good giving person and try and maybe do that ourselves, and maybe that will help channel us, because that's an important part, right? Because to remember that person, keeping them in your memory, keeping their memory alive is maybe internalizing some of the things that they did and maybe doing it so you can always remember them, or doing a pastime that you did together slowly, because that can also be a trigger that can make you relapse and make you feel all those horrible feelings that we felt in the beginning when we were trying to figure out how to accept our pain. And that will happen, and that's okay. This is about going through the loops and then checking through them, and then each time it becomes a little less worse. Because that's the whole point of this thing, that eventually all of that will end at a point, hopefully. And then there's the other part, which is the hardest lesson of the 5, is that grief doesn't necessarily go away. It's something that stays with you a long time. And that's why I talked about in the beginning, it being something that is manageable, something that we can work on over time to slowly help ourselves be people who can function in the world. This is a really complex topic because it's not easy. You can't apply it to everyone's situation. You can't apply it to feelings because feelings are not something that are like in a box. These tools are meant to help, but sometimes they can't help, and sometimes I couldn't even be the person to help. I'm making this video because someone very important in my life, like, they lost someone, and I'm seeing how they're dealing with it, and it hurts watching them feel the hurt. And the only way I feel like I can help them is making this video. And it sucks that they have to go through that. And I see it, the real hurt. Like, I haven't seen that in a person in a long time. And seeing something about that just really makes me want to try and help. I can't really help, I feel helpless like a lot of people in this situation, but I feel like maybe having these tools might be like a way to help. All right, that one was a little personal. I guess that's what the point of the vlog is, right? I hope that this video helped. I hope that it gave you some insights on some things that you can do. I hope that in time, whatever has happened can be better than it is now. And things will hopefully get better in time. I really do hope so, man. Because there needs to be like a light at the end of the tunnel, and hopefully in all of this we'll come out of it stronger. This is to me or anybody dealing with it or will deal with it in the future. I hope they don't. At some point we all have to, which sucks. Okay, but yeah guys, I'm Vandal. I hope you guys got something out of this video. I hope that it helped. Yeah, that's all I can say. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace, bye.